Been gone for a minute, but now we back. We are live. Welcome everybody to another episode of You Know What. Let me just say podcast. I am your host, Ray. With me as always, we got Fada.
The waves are starting to come in.
We we got Dion.
Good evening, infidels.
We got Tony.
What's good? Playing this good Madden 21 for the first 5 minutes. I'm here though.
And we have Shining Wolf.
Every time the podcast come on, my first post start shining, start glistening.
Gentlemen, how we doing today?
We're doing good, doing good.
Doing straight, doing good. All right, man. Chilling.
Feeling good, feeling great. How are you? All right. Even though we got some heavy stuff to talk about, I want to start off with something like, as we are all wrestling fans here, I wanted to start off with the SummerSlam / Takeover that's coming on this weekend. Well, with NXT Takeover 30, some of the cards we got Io Shirai versus Dakota Kai for the NXT Women's Championship. We got the ladder match, the North American Championship with Bronson Reed, Damian Priest, Johnny Gargano, Cameron Grimes, and Velveteen Dream. We got the NXT Championship with Keith Lee versus Fallen Prey, Karrion Cross. We got, and I think that's it for the. Yeah, that's it for the NXT 30. And then for SummerSlam, we got Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton. We got The Fiend Bray Wyatt versus Braun Strowman. We got Raw Women's Championship title Sasha Banks versus Asuka. And the SmackDown Women Championship Bayley versus Asuka. Asuka obviously doing double duty tonight. Seth Rollins versus Dominic Mysterio in a street fight. The Raw Tag Team Championship between the Street Profits versus Andrade and Angel Garza. The United States Championship between generic black guy number 3 Apollo Crews versus MVP. Sonya Deville versus Mandy Rose in a hair versus hair match. Don't see a lot of those. And Matt Riddle versus King Corbin. What a match. Gentlemen, what do y'all think about this SummerSlam / Takeover preview?
Well, like I was saying before we went live, I'm thinking the NXT card is kind of looking a little better than the main roster card. You know what I'm saying? Takeover's looking like it's gonna be lit. SummerSlam is looking like a bunch of matches that could have been saved for their respective shows for real. And save for like 2 of those, not even 2, 3 of those.
Damn, so that's it? Father, what you think?
I'm not looking forward to SummerSlam that much. SummerSlam sound boring as hell. But NXT always delivers, so I'm going to be looking forward to NXT more than SummerSlam. But SummerSlam this year sounds real dry. The only thing I'm really looking forward to is the Thunderdome shit that they announced. That's really the only thing. But I do want to. But my most anticipated match for SummerSlam has got to be Sasha Banks defending her title, because as you know, that is my wife forever, and I hope she retains.
Tony, what about you?
I think it just don't feel like SummerSlam. It doesn't seem like SummerSlam. It's not exciting as all the other ones from the previous years. I think it's just one of them free pay-per-views that be on Fox with stuff added from previous previews or something like that. But I'm still going to look at it though.
Man. Shoot. I just want to know if Sasha Banks is going to keep her title for more than a week. Because even though this is her 6th time holding the title, like her whole title rank altogether accumulates to a month. a little bit over a month now, but it accumulates to a month. So I'm wondering if Oscar's going to take one of the titles. I honestly think she's going to beat Bailey, but that's just me. And other than that, I guess I'm with y'all. I guess I just wonder what the Thunderdome is going to look like since they're going to put it in a bigger stadium and have a virtual audience and shit. But other than that, yeah. Other than that, by the way, I hate the name. For some reason, I do hate the name. Even though I like it in Apex, I hate it in wrestling. I don't know why. But other than that, I think I think something interesting could come out of it. But I'm with y'all. This is not as exciting, and I think it's because of this damn, the Rona. So at least we're getting
Yeah.
something.
I heard Thunderdome and I thought of the old Mad Max movies.
I think that's anybody that think about the Thunder. Any last words before we move on to our next topic?
Mm, loser.
We don't want to talk just match predictions real quick. Who's gonna win what match?
I've been saying who, who y'all think is gonna win?
We might as well go down the list quick fast.
We okay.
Start with the takeover card.
All right, hold on. Let me get it. Let me get it up. Let me get it. Okay. Adam Cole versus Pat McAfee.
Yeah, see, that match actually slipped my damn mind. Um, um, I got Adam Cole whooping him only because you know how Undisputed Era rolls. You know they gonna get involved in that.
I guess. Oh, I forgot a match. Logano del Fantasma versus Breezango versus Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch for the number one contender for the NXT Tag Team Championships. But I don't think anyone y'all care about that one.
Nope.
I kind of do, just for the simple fact of the NXT tag team titles don't get defended that often.
Who's the
So
champion? Who is the champion? Oh, Emporium.
Imperium.
Imperium. I don't know. I'm gonna go with Breezango because I feel like that's I don't know. It might be Legado del Fantasma. I'm gonna go with Breezango.
That's who I think is walking away with that one.
All right. What about Io Shirai versus Dakota Kai?
EO.
EO.
Yeah, I'm gonna go EO as well. Um, the North American ladder match: Bronson Reed, Damian Priest, Johnny Gargano, Cameron Grimes, or Velveteen Dream.
You know what? I think Cameron Grimes is going to win that.
I hope not.
The person
And that's
listen.
exactly
The
the
person
reason why
I
he's going to win.
want to win that match is Finn Balor. The person I want to win that is Finn Balor. The person who I think is going to win is Cameron Grimes.
Well, too bad Finn Balor's not in the match. So
I mean, not
Yeah,
Finn Balor. Freaking what's his name?
okay,
That fought Balor to get in there. Velveteen Dream. That's what I meant to say.
Velveteen.
Yeah, that's what I want to win. But I think Cameron Grimes is going to win that.
You know who I want to win? I want Damian Priest to win. He's actually my top three in NXT right now as we speak. That nigga can put on matches.
That's who I
Oh
think is
yeah,
going to win. Damian Priest. Even I
That
call him a better
he's my
Baron
second
Corbin.
choice.
bro,
He's a
he
better
can.
Baron Corbin. But I'm a root for Velveteen Dream because my sister don't like him.
Bro, his last five matches on NXT have all been fire consistently. That man can wrestle.
That man can wrestle. I give him that. Keith Lee versus Karrion Cross.
I got
You
Keith
know what?
retaining.
You know what I think? I think Keith Lee is gonna retain, but I think he's gonna get his ass whooped. I think Karrion Cross is gonna get disqualified.
I'm actually
I don't see.
surprised they put this matchup so quickly because I think they were still trying to build Karrion Cross as a monster. But I'm gonna go with
Yeah,
Keith
that's what
Lee.
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Since they're building him up as more of a monster, it would not make sense for him to take a loss at Takeover. So I think he's gonna lose by disqualification by beating the absolute shit out of Keith Lee, like he did with Dominic Dijakovic.
But I think that's just going to lead to a rematch between the two, though.
Exactly.
If it ends in DQ.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there you have it. That's okay on the SummerSlam. Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton.
I need Randy Orton to win that match.
Randy Orton.
I'm going Drew.
I've been saying for the past what year and a half or so, Randy Orton is long overdue for another title reign, and not one of the mid card belts either. He's too good for that shit.
I'm going with Drew. And I think Drew's going to retain because he's been a very strong champion. And even though Randy Orton has been having an impeccable run as a heel, I don't think that he's going to win it. I think they're going to keep it on Drew, and I think they're going to like keep pushing Drew. Braun Strowman versus the Fiend Bray Wyatt.
The
I
That
Fiend.
one's
got
up in the air for
Bowie.
me.
I got a Bowie.
Well, excuse me.
That one's up in the air for me. Speaking of up in the air, what I'm curious to see what they do with Alexa Bliss come SmackDown. But um I think the Fiend got him. I think the Fiend's gonna get this one.
I hope I hope the Fiend gets it back, but either way, the Universal title is dead.
The Fiend
They
should have
ain't
never
gonna give
lost
him
it
the
to
title.
begin with. Goldberg killed it. The Fiend should have never lost it, let alone the Goldberg.
It was right. It was way past that before Goldberg. Let's be honest. Who the fuck
I
is Trigga
mean,
for the
let's
Universal
be
title?
real. Brock Lesnar destroyed that belt.
Yeah,
No, he
but
didn't. No, he didn't.
I just
Brock
think the
destroyed that
title is
belt.
useless anyway.
I'm gonna always defend Brock Lesnar just because he's a part time getting that money. But I don't. That's what he's supposed to do: arrive, suplex, and leave. That's what he's supposed.
Okay, but
I
you're not
hope
supposed to
so,
put your most prestigious championship in your company
that's not their
on
most
a part time
prestigious.
ass wrestler.
That's
I
Yes,
don't
not
care
their
they
how
most
do.
good he
prestigious
is.
They
title.
do it all the time. They've been doing it for.
And plus, that's not their most
Yeah, they need
prestigious.
to stop
That
that.
that again, I disagree with the likes of him, Goldberg, or anyone else, who don't fight, who don't perform on a regular basis, having that fucking belt. I don't care who the fuck it is.
Well, I only feel like you feel that way because you're taking the title seriously.
It's
Who, me or
you're kind of
Dion?
supposed to. I
No,
mean, you're supposed to. Like, this is supposed to be like your shining star of your fucking your shit.
no, that's the WWE Championship. That's always been the WWE
Either
Championship. That's
either
why that's why I kept saying, and Ray can attest to this. I kept saying ever since the Universal title was created, that title is kind of useless. It is.
what
Yeah, he's been saying it.
what I think needs to happen for real. There needs to be a unification of some sort between the WWE and Universal Championships, and need to be one belt.
Nope, nope, nope.
No,
I'm
no,
not
this is what you
doing no
do.
more Universal titles.
Make how you
I'm
have
not.
the um women's tag team titles. How if you're the women's tag team champions, you can go to any of the three shows. You know that's what I think they should do there. Unify the Universal and WWE heavyweight championships or whatever, and that person has freedom to go to Raw or SmackDown since NXT has their own championship or whatever.
Nigga, the last time they did that,
They,
everybody didn't like it because they didn't implement it right. Kofi Kingston did that shit.
I was about to say,
Nah,
you don't remember when they had the WWE Championship on one brand and SmackDown on the other? Like they've been doing it. You might as well just keep them both. I don't mind. I don't mind the Universal on one and WWE Championship on the other. It's just it's there to push more people in the forefront. I think it works. It's just that WWE likes putting it on Brock Lesnar for some reason. But don't worry, because Charlotte Flair is going to win that title pretty soon.
Stop it.
Wait, Sh- Charlotte is still recovering from getting her busted fake titties fixed.
I know, but sooner or later she's going to win that title. All right, Sasha Banks versus Asuka.
Oscar.
Sasha Banks.
Dang, man, you think Sasha Banks gonna have another paperweight title run?
Yeah,
She
maybe.
never holds a championship long. I'm sorry.
She probably going to win it Sunday and lose it Monday.
I honestly would not be shocked if that happens.
I'm asking.
Uh,
Okay, I'm going with Sasha on this one. I'm actually going with Sasha on this one. What about Bailey versus Oscar?
Oscar.
So you think she gonna be Oscar two belts?
I got Oscar making history.
Oscar two
Oscar
belts.
making history. Being, she won't be the first, woman to be dual champion, but she'll be the first woman to win two championships in two separate matches in the same night.
Oh wow, wow. All right, there you go. Seth Rollins versus Dominic Mysterio in the street fight.
I need Dominic to beat his ass.
Nah, I want Seth
Even if
Rollins to
Dominic
demolish that
technically
boy.
even if Dominic loses the match itself, fuck him up.
Nah, I want Seth Rollins to demolish that boy.
I
Why?
understand.
Why? Because it would be entertaining. That's Rey Mysterio's son getting his absolute ass whooped by Seth Rollins with a kendo stick. That shit was funny as hell on Raw. I want to
I
see it
feel like
again.
you I feel like you have something against Rey Mysterio.
Hey yo, hey, father, remember when Kevin Nash fucking treated Rey Mysterio like a lawn dart in WCW and threw that man into the side of the building?
Oh yeah. When NWO jumped him, I remember that.
Bruh,
And
nah,
little ass Rey Mysterio jumped up and he threw him like a lawn dart. That is still the funniest shit. Other than
nah,
Braun throwing chair at Roman. That was one of the things that made me bust out laughing.
nah. Y'all remember when JBL was beefing with both Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero, and that motherfucker called border control on both their ass?
Oh God.
That's
Oh
got to be
God.
one of the most racist things I've ever seen WWE do, but that shit was funny.
Man.
All right, the Street Profits versus Andrade and Angel Garza for the Raw Tag Team title.
Street Profits are gonna retain.
I'm going with Andrade and Angel because I think they're pushing them to be something. So I think they're going with them.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to either one, honestly.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Yeah.
either. I like Andrade.
The same I feel the same, but again, going off of who I think is going to retain, I think it's gonna be the Street Profits.
Yeah, that's fine. United States Championship, generic black guy number 3 versus MVP.
You said
I don't
generic
care.
black.
I
Yeah, I
don't
don't.
care.
I don't literally don't care.
Yo, when you ever create a wrestler on the WWE, you go to generic number 3. That's Apollo. I'm telling you. That's Let me stop Apollo because I like Apollo, as you do like Apollo. I think Apollo's gonna retain though, and I'm just waiting for them to do Apollo versus Bobby Lashley. I think that's what they're building it up for.
Right. Apollo
I,
as a character needs heavy work though. He
um,
needs a manager or something. Just
He was
I just
better.
want
He was
him.
better
So
in
okay,
Impact.
okay. If you ever seen like the WWE 24, like him off the like he has a personality, and I feel like that personality, like I've seen, like he's a cocky, arrogant. He's kind of cocky as you really see, but you don't really get that. You get the smiling black guy um thing with him on. So I really like want him to be. That's why I like him with Titus kind of work because he could do some things. But other than that, his character does need work. But Sonya Deville versus Mandy Rose and a hair versus hair.
I think that one's going to Mandy.
I
I
hope
got
it
I
goes
got
to Randy.
I got Sonya becoming a skinhead.
You think
Um,
she's gonna be the next Molly Holly?
yeah, basically. Yo, somebody gonna be rocking that mom hit that Karen. I'm gonna speak to the manager here. I'm telling you, somebody's gonna do it, and I think it might be Mandy Rose. I think I got Sonya Deville winning that.
And the main
Uh,
reason I'm saying, okay, Sonya Deville is one who's going to get their head shaved. They already got Mandy Rose flaunting her little this new little shortcut of hers, like she ain't in danger of getting her shit shaved. Come Sunday.
okay, all right, and the last match, probably the one of the most exciting matches on the card: Matt Riddle versus King Corbin. Ugh.
Man, can Matt Riddle just kick that nigga in the face and keep it moving? Shit.
Uh, I want Matt Riddle to win, obviously.
Matt's winning that.
Yeah, that's winning that. All right, and that's the SummerSlam card. So obviously we can get to other topics, right, fellas?
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
All right. Um, okay? Y'all seen the list. So which y'all want to talk about? Kamala Harris for vice president, the WAP controversy, or um them trying to pass off a pedophilia ass movie on Netflix?
We could talk about the Netflix.
That's the last. Y'all want to get that out of the way?
Yeah, let's talk about the Netflix one.
Okay.
Okay. First of all, Netflix got into a big controversy for a movie they're putting out, and I think it's only in France, right? I think it's only pushing out in France, and the movie is called what? Cuties, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and the movie's called
no,
Cuties, and the poster is got these 11-year-old girls in provocative ass outfits in twerking positions and different type of twerking positions, and Twitter went off. So I've always said that society try to put pedophilia low key, and like some people uh, don't be seeing it, but sometimes this one was really in your face, gentlemen. How you feel about it?
well, go ahead. Somebody go ahead. Just nobody got any thoughts about it?
Oh no, I
I
thought
just
he was
I
going.
just
That's what
seen
I
it
was waiting.
today. I just seen it today. I think it's probably gonna get pulled.
Mm. Oh, yeah, that's what I was about to say. But I'm about to say, yeah, but the thing is, I don't know if it's going to be like, a foreign movie on Netflix or if it's going to be like a France only movie because, like sometimes movies on Netflix are regional. You can't like say, for example, like if I live in America, there's some movies I can't see that like in other places
Mm,
of the world available.
Yeah.
So I don't
Yeah.
really think it's
mm.
going to be like that type of situation or is it going to be like just a foreign movie that you can just see on, American Netflix and that.
It's ways around that, but not gonna get into that. Um, yeah, I feel like it's just anything in my head. All I'm thinking of is you're sitting here exploiting a bunch of little girls. So everything about this just feels wrong every time I see or hear something about it.
Like Netflix, like they said that the plot, they said that they gave two synopses. For the plot. One synopsis for the plot was a girl came from like a restrictive family, like a Muslim family, and so she ran into this like dance competition where she felt like liberated or whatever. Because you know how they try to push like the whole sexuality liberation thing.
Yeah.
They tried to use that as an excuse for what was going on, and then they changed the synopsis of the movie and was like, oh, it's a movie trying to depict on how the media, sexuality in the media, and social network, and on social networks like Facebook and stuff could be like push the youth to like toxic, ratchet like behavior or whatever. So they used two different synopses for the movie, and something don't sound right to me. It sounds like one was an excuse to justify some pedo shit, and the other one was like, was one song. Another one was being more straight up, like, oh, sexual liberating the little girls and shit. I feel like that was the real one, and the one that they used as far as like, oh, this is like commentary on how social media could be like it's causing like the youth to be over sexualized. I think that one was an excuse, even though that's probably a subject matter that you could explore. But
You want to know what's funny about that?
what's
It's
up?
funny how Cuties is a French movie, but in France they banned like those beauty pageants for little kids and shit. They banned that shit.
In, in France, they did.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of like uh, it was a big like thing about all the mess that goes on behind the scenes when it comes to those pageants. You know, shit that like the parents and shit was doing to these little girls, shit that the parents was like allowing to happen to these little girls to try to give them a leg up in these pageants and shit like that. It was just yeah, it was a that became like a big thing.
I'm kind of looking up more details about this. First of all, it's directed by a black woman and written by a black woman.
Yeah, I
That's
found it earlier too before I even got on the podcast.
yeah. So and it's got an 82% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 60% on Metacritic. So
I mean, people already seen it.
yeah, it was promoted at the Sundance Film Festival. So
Hmm.
it's just
And then
and then I'm looking at like some of the tweets, and Tessa Thompson kind of like backed this film, saying like it was a beautiful film. So, but it's just weird. I don't know. I don't think any. I don't. It's just this whole thing is weird to me. I didn't see no. I don't know if there's no previews about it or like maybe it's not all about the twerking thing. I don't know. This thing is just weird. The whole thing is just weird and creepy. The poster is really uh per- how can I say perversive, if that's a word.
perverse. The word
Yeah,
you're looking for is perverse.
yeah, perverse, and it's just
Have
I
y'all
don't
seen
know.
this?
The whole thing is weird because you got these girls in
I
like
mean,
twerking. You got
I'm
these.
not
You got these
shocked. I'm not shocked that something like this getting such high ratings and high reviews and shit simply because everyone knows that the entertainment industry is full of fucking creeps.
I
Well,
mean, they've always said there's like a pedophilia ring in Hollywood that and like that's finally getting discovered. So maybe it just falls in the line of that.
Getting
And
just in
discovered
Hollywood.
like motherfuckers didn't know like th- this was a thing this has been a thing for like decades now. Really?
yeah, yeah, but there's been no proof.
Yeah, but the thing is, this isn't Hollywood though. This is France. This is France entertainment industry doing this.
Oh, I mean,
Like, like Hollywood.
Europe in general is weird anyway. What's the age of consent in France again? Ain't it like 14 or 15 or some bullshit like that?
Have to look it up real quick.
That's I know it's 14 in Japan. Actually, there's a lot of countries where the age of consent is like 14. So
Yeah, really the 16, no, really the 17 and 18 thing is mostly an American thing. Even in Europe, I think the age of consent in Europe is
It's
like
15.
15 years old.
it's 15.
Yeah, yeah. In France, it's 15.
Okay,
Yeah,
I knew it was somewhere in that area. I'm
yeah.
in my head. I'm just like, well, nah, I ain't even gonna go there because I'm going off topic.
Well, we play the devil's advocate. Why do you suppose that in America has the oldest age of consent, but in all these other countries, including our country that's closest to us is like that's closest like us, Europe. Even they have like the age of consent like 16 years old, but we have the oldest. Why do y'all think that is?
It varies for us. Something like LA. Most of the West Coast is LA. Most of the East Coast is actually like 16. I know Alabama is like 14. So
Alabama's 14.
Alabama is
Okay,
14. It's
Alabama
not.
is weird
I
in
keep telling
general.
people. Yeah, I keep no. Look it up. Alabama's 14.
I know, but it's like Alabama's weird.
Yeah,
So
but this is what I've been saying. Like, uh, a lot. Like it. You know that old Chappelle joke. How old is 15? Really? It's just. I think it really falls along of what people think. The age is the person knows better. And since here you got to be 18 to be an adult and 21 and drink, and people kind of look at we. I think we look at age different. It's like I feel like um every country got their ways of thinking. Like what's how can I say this? What's morally right, and morally wrong. Like how in America cockfighting is illegal, but if you go to most of the countries in South America, that shit is legal, and they can do it all they want in there and all that stuff. Just like
yeah,
how, just like how
The
Keegan
thing
Warner
about
has a
legal
document,
doesn't equal right though.
huh?
Legal doesn't equal right though. All the time.
Legal doesn't. Yeah, you're right. Legal doesn't. That's why I said it's all. I think most people go about their morals, and I feel like with us, our laws mostly Christian on Christian values, and most of the laws are based on values. So you're going to get a lot of Christian values in our laws, but since a lot of other countries don't really follow Christianity like that, I think it varies, and I think
yeah,
most of
that.
the
Well, Christianity never really said that the age of consent should be 18 or 17 or whatever
I
it
mean, it
is.
don't. Yeah, they don't. Nothing in the Bible verifies that, to my knowledge.
Right. Matter of fact,
But
they used to marry girls on the normal at like 14
the
and
the
15.
moment,
Time they hit puberty, they stand for puberty or start.
yeah, the moment a girl has that first cycle, okay, it's time to find you a husband. You can reproduce now.
But, but then again, life was a little bit more paid back then. We wasn't in this little comfort zone that we are in now, where pretty much
See,
diseases get us. Back then, it was lions, tigers, bears, other
right.
villages, other tribes. The life you wasn't living in that comfortable life like we are now. So people wasn't waiting around and bullshitting around with their life like that for real.
Yeah, but see, another thing I was gonna say is a lot of how certain countries structure their laws and shit like that. It has to do with it has to do with their culture. It has a lot to do with their cultural values and things of that nature. You know, and shit. You mentioned Japan. They're a prime example of that.
hmm Yeah, they culture like you would assume like for example, you would assume by looking at anime is for adults, but most of that shit is for teens. It's just that they view like what's acceptable for like their youth is different than what's acceptable for our youth. Like our youth, we wouldn't put like sexual innuendos in our cartoons. I mean, not that blatant, not as blatant as what's in anime, you know.
I was about to say we kind of do. It's just
I'm
not as
laughing.
blatant
I'm laughing for a reason.
because Animaniacs, because like Animaniacs used to get away
Yeah,
with a lot of shit.
but
Oh, nigga.
who was Animaniacs for? Really, they had all those celebrity references from old times before the show even came out. I don't know who Animaniacs was really for because most kids didn't know about those celebrities that they was referencing. That was
Animaniacs is for everybody. You got
Technically,
Animaniacs
like
is for everybody.
yeah for
technically, if you grew up on Looney Tunes, we shouldn't even know half of the. We honestly don't know half of those references unless you got to live through that age or you like older and you realize where it actually come from. But
yeah.
some of the stuff is still funny.
Right.
hmm
It's see shit like that is for everybody. You got your slapstick comedy or whatever to make the kids laugh or whatever, but then you got all the dirty jokes that slid in there for the adults that only adults is gonna catch.
Right. The anime had that gore and that shit in there too, though. And like even
Oh
like
yeah,
Dragon Ball, like the original Dragon Ball had a lot of like rough violence in there that people wouldn't even consider doing for American cartoons. And that's why when I was a teenager, I was like, yeah, anime is not for kids. Anime is for grown-ups. You're a badass if you watch anime, but
It
then in Japan,
it
that's the
depend
norm.
it depends entirely on what you're watching. They
Right,
have shit they have stuff that is like you can tell it's geared towards younger audiences, and you can tell what's geared towards teenagers. You can tell what's geared towards adults.
right,
I don't know. I watched Parappa the Rapper anime, and even though that was for kids, they actually had some adult jokes in there too, and that was you could tell that was meant for kids. So, I like I said, I think our morals are just different from other countries because obviously, like if you could say okay, Dragon Ball is a showing, but it had Bulma showing her panties at like what was she like
Well, that's
16?
because it's for teenage boys, and no matter what your morals are, teenage boys want to see some tail. Period. No ifs, no ands, no buts. Well, yeah,
Everyone wants to see
yeah,
titties.
buts too. They want to see some titties. They want to see some tail. They want to see all that shit. They want to see violence too. That's what boys like. Boys like rough and tumble. That's why most shonen jumps are about fighting and martial arts and shit. And they got TNA because any teenage boy going through puberty, that's the biggest time when he want to see some ass and some titties. So they just
Shit.
give them what they want and what they know they want. They're not bullshitting around with the Christian values and shit. And the sexuality or masturbating is bad as a teenager, even though that teenagers gonna do that any fucking way because that's what they do. Their bodies is pretty much making them do that at that age. So, I mean, it makes sense.
Where's the lie?
It makes sense if you think about it.
Tony, what you think? You've been kind of quiet on this. What you think?
Nah, I'm just listening. But it's a lot of shows like that. Like I seen like Dexter Laboratory, Rugrats, all got subline things in it that you don't know until you see it when you get older.
They had no
So
business making Dexter's mom that thick. I'm sorry.
Yo, you
I
know
had to
what
get that
about
out of my
Dexter's
system.
Lab? The funny thing about Dexter's Lab, the cold shower joke with the Dee Dee sister replacement, I did not understand that until I got into an adult. I said, "Oh shit!" When
yeah,
he hit them with the "Ooh, what does this button do?" and he went to go take a cold shower, I said, "I'm like, yo." So I understand what you said about that. Any last words on this before we move on to our next topic?
Oh, but did y'all see the trailer though to the movie?
No.
The trailer is like she lives in a Muslim home. Her mom is like her culture is very restrictive. She wears a hijab and all that stuff. And then she finds like these girls doing these dancing and stuff. And then they run to these teenage boys and they kind of like put them onto the scene of like the guys actually look teenagers. These girls obviously look like they're not. They look like they haven't hit puberty yet, but the guys that they run into are obviously older. How much older? I don't really know.
Uh
Hard
oh.
to really tell. Hard to tell. It's hard to tell. They could be teenagers, but even still, it's not excuse because these girls are 11. They're barely in their teens. They got like 2 years to go before they get there. But and then they just start like dancing and get into the whole dancing. Like the trailer, it's not as bad as the poster will have you believe, but that's just a trailer. Who knows what they be getting into in the actual movie?
Does anyone of y'all even like consider watching that? If it comes, I know this, but like if it did come out here, would y'all watch that? Because I wouldn't. I don't think I'd watch it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm staying away from that.
Right. I probably look at a review to see what exactly goes down in that movie in the first place.
Yeah, that's probably what I'll do. I'll probably watch a review of someone else watching it. But other than that, but I mean,
Because the Republicans,
If Tessa Thompson thinks it's a beautiful movie, I think I don't know
because
because
the Republicans are going to be like, "Oh, this is where the culture is going."
Yeah. And speaking of where the culture is going, let's talk about WAP. Obviously,
Ah,
and, and everything that transitions into WAP. Thank you for the transition, Clarence.
Speaking of sexual stuff.
WAP has, for some reason, WAP has really gotten this. Other than hitting number ones on the Billboard, has really a lot of people thinking about hypersexuality and sexual liberations and all that other stuff. And the thing is, I know a couple people are just looking at it as just a regular rap video, or like, and but some people think of it, it's the bane of all existence, and this is like the downslope of family values. Gentlemen, what do you think about that?
well, I think there's a lot of p words going on in that song, and I don't know exactly how I feel about it. P words are very wet, and I don't think it's supposed to be wet like that. I really Jesus Christ.
Nigga.
Wow.
I
Nigga.
love Ben Shapiro. I love that
They got
robot.
the N word, and then they got the P word, and the N word, and the P word, and I'm like, oh Jesus Christ! Let's see where our country's going here. You see? Do you see?
I think Ben Shapiro is hilarious. I don't
Oh
care what
shit!
anybody thinks.
Yo,
Wait, who you?
I listened to a remix. I listened to a remix of that shit. I was dying.
Hold up.
Father,
And
what you
P
think?
word make that pull out game weak.
I mean, me personally, like I heard the song, and I mean, it's a song about pussy. Like like songs have
We got called P words. P word.
very sexual song. I'm not saying that shit. Very sexual songs have been made forever. You know what I'm saying? Like we always act like sex is always a taboo. Yeah, we the first motherfuckers to show some titties or show some ass or talk about our dick and talk about how much head we get. We the first ones to say that shit. But now niggas want to turn all conservative and people want to get all fucking offended that they're so descriptive about how wet they pussy is. So I'm just sitting here and I'm like, bruh,
P word.
it's just a song. Like that's my thing. Like it's just a song. You could skip it. You don't have to listen to it. You don't even have to like. You know what I'm saying? You don't even have to be in the same vicinity of the song. If it's on the radio, change it to another radio station. You know what I'm saying? It's something that it isn't new. So I don't even know why people was really tripping about this shit. If it don't resonate with you, then change the channel. Don't listen to the shit. Go listen to Rhapsody or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like there's options. You niggas acting like, oh, they're setting a bad example for the little girls, and I'm like, bruh, if you live in the United States of America, a little girl can turn on the TV and watch way more violent shit than some women shaking their ass on TV. Let's be
Thank
real
you.
now. Let's be real. Y'all, the people are not keeping the same energy, and it's like I feel like part of it is race because I bet I can almost damn guarantee you if white women were talking about that shit. Lady Gaga wore a fucking meat dress to the VMAs and didn't get as much shit as WAP got. So I don't want to hear shit.
Me next.
That's all
Go
I'm
ahead.
saying.
Okay. Well, the thing about that is that every musician has gotten the same treatment. It's like the ladies is an exception, and Cardi B is not an exception. Like rock and roll artists got this treatment. Prince got this treatment. Elvis Presley's pedo ass got this treatment. Every celebrity I can think of, even different genres that's not even music, got the treatment. So it's not like a particularly lady thing. It's like a like was someone please save the children type of thing mentality. That's what it really boils down to. There's always some Karen or some conservative minded person who's coming like, oh, what is this? My kid's been watching this or been listening to this or has been playing this. And what are we going to do to keep them from getting their hands on it, watching it, or some shit like that? And that's how it's been for shit. Who knows how fucking long.
All right. So I'm gonna say this about this shit though. All right. So art is supposed to imitate life, right? Regardless of what form of art it is, be it music or whatever the fuck, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Now, sex is a part of life, right? Hell, without sex there can be no life, right?
Right.
So that being said, can we just stop demonizing sex in general?
Mm.
Define demonizing.
All right. For one, okay. Just all of a sudden, okay, they're such bad and such nasty people. They like to fuck. So what? You know,
Mhm.
it's they shouldn't be catching the heat they're catching over this song. Because like I said, sex is a part of life. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Not to mention if you're that hung up over, what they're doing and saying in the music video and the song and whatnot, there's been way nastier things done and said in music videos. Am I the only one who remembers certain shit off of BET Uncut from back in the 90s?
I used to watch
I
that
don't
shit
know.
religiously.
I don't know. They was
Shit.
doing it on that shit too, though.
Back in the 90s, early 2000s, am I the only one who remember Two Live Crew?
But what I'm saying is these same a lot of these some not all of them, but a lot of these same people like the Ben Shapiro's and progressive right, they went in, even Hillary Clinton, they went in on these things back in the day as well. So it's like
Okay.
a continuous thing that keeps on
And
popping up every so
and
often.
even still, I'm like, sit your prude ass down. I mean, come on. And then you you can't talk to me about how nasty wet ass pussy is when motherfucking you got what's that nigga name that sang stroking Clarence Carter.
No,
Y'all know that song, right?
Stroke it,
stroke it,
stroke it to
to
the beat.
my right, stroke it.
Yo, you ever
uh,
heard of Dookie Stick? Yeah,
Who?
Dookie Stick.
Dookie
the
shoes.
Dookie
I
Stick. Oh,
heard,
that's a classic.
I heard about that. Yeah.
Dookie Stick, I don't know that one. I'm gonna have to look for that.
I'll send you the song. That song is hilarious. But also, listen to a
I
bunch of
think a
old
lot.
Dynamite, old Dolomite, where like him and the woman he was with, they was talking about pussy and all that other stuff. It's just like that shit is raunchy. That's some raunchy ass shit. Okay,
What do you
let me
think?
ask you, Dion. Let me ask you a question though.
What's
Um,
up?
you have a son or a daughter?
I have a son and a daughter on the way.
Which one's the oldest?
Again, daughter hasn't been born yet. Like I said, daughter's on the way.
My bad. I think it's the right time to teach him the birds and the bees.
Right, right time to have that conversation. Shit.
Because
That's
especially
something. My son
I
ain't but
do
five, so that's
understand
something I haven't thought. Well, he's 4, about to be 5 next month, so that's something I haven't thought about yet, just yet, for real. But the moment he starts showing signs that he's going through puberty, at whatever, and that age varies from child to child. So
because one thing I do understand is you don't want to, and this is I feel like this is fair. You don't want to push that type of scenery onto little kids at a young age, and
right,
it's not like even though we do have parental controls and all that other stuff.
Mm,
I've learned that even as a young age, I can get around stuff, and kids are. I keep telling people, kids are smarter than you think. We find ways to get around stuff. I remember in high school, like when MySpace was the thing, and like they had these blockers that prevent you from going to MySpace, and like our kids in our class like found ways around it so that you can go through MySpace. So it's one of the things where they're going to find it, and that I do understand. But other than that, most of the other things is just like um you want to keep
You
your
know what?
kids as innocent as possible.
You just made me think
So
about something else, and
go ahead.
it just because you reminded me of a conversation I had with another friend of mine about this the double standards when it comes to raising boys, raising girls. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I I think that same thing kind of applies here because how often it's funny how okay men can talk about sex, talk about pussy and all of that good shit, and no one bats an eye. But when women talk about the shit, there's a motherfucking uproar.
Mm.
I disagree with that. I
Yeah,
really do.
just like I
It's
said, the history, it's the
I,
thing across the board.
it's now it's happened where male artists have been have gotten shit for things they you said in their songs or whatever. I mentioned Uncle Luke earlier. He's one,
Mhm.
but outside of him, you don't see a lot of artists who where people come at their heads like that. And I think the
Yeah.
only reason Uncle Luke and Two Live Crew and them got the shit they got simply because of, for one, the time period they were in, and for two, they were absolutely fearless about their shit. They didn't care who felt what type of way. This is what they was presenting.
Right.
Okay.
And you do have a point. You do have a point because there's been like football players and other rappers that called out Cardi B and them for the song, but a lot of other rappers they don't say shit to, like more recent rappers they don't really say shit to about their songs, how it affects the culture and the kids and all that shit.
French Montana, MGK, um, Loso, and fucking Red Cafe and Diddy got a whole song about getting their dick sucked. Ocho Cinco, remember that shit? Speaking of football players,
Yeah, but you never heard Ocho
but
Cinco on the radio.
Hmm.
even still,
No,
the point
Ocho
is the
Cinco
song
came.
does
No,
exist.
but Ocho. No, the thing is, Ocho Cinco came off a mixtape. Like you
There
know,
was a video. I don't know about hearing it on the video, but I don't know about hearing it on the radio, but I know there was a whole music video for the shit and everything. And when that song first came out, they showed that shit on MTV religiously.
they show Ocho Cinco on MTV.
Yes, they showed that
MTV.
music video religiously when that song first came out.
That's probably when I'll give you that because I can't confirm nor deny that. But I still think as far as like compared to WAP, I think Nelly's Tip Drill had more controversy than WAP in my
Because he
opinion
swiped the
because
Shit,
car.
that's one of my favorite songs from that nigga.
That because he
yeah
swiped the car between their thick butt cheeks.
yeah that's the one when he slipped the
Yeah.
car and people had a fucking fit about that because he slid a
Like,
credit card to him even though it was her idea. A lot of like they gave him
you
shit
making a
like and he
55
told this
minutes.
story about him going to one in Atlanta called and looking for a donor for his sister and like I think they either kicked him out or like he couldn't get the drive going, and his sister ended up dying and all that other stuff because of the controversy behind Tip Drill. And I feel like that's what I tell people. Like, there's a lot of I think today's modern era is more or less not. I think it's more or less not much hyper for men rappers, it's more or less hyper masculinity than really lewd sexual lyrics. Or, like more or less masculinity more than sexuality in this era, where other eras where it was about sexual explicit lyrics and shit.
Now it's more about getting money.
Yeah, it's always been about getting money. Is
Yeah,
Yeah, but I
that's
mean,
that
they come up with more so now than they do about getting pussy.
the blink era. That's all you. I could hate you. So many songs from the blink era about money, like "Make It Rain" and "Money
Mhm.
and the Thing" and "Bury Me a G" is like I could tell you so many songs about money from that era and all that other shit. But I think in this era where you a lot of rappers are talking about their hyper masculinity, and then like the women, actually the female rappers is more or less about their sexuality than it is about
because that's what
um
sells. That's what people
yeah,
like to hear about.
but yeah, but that's the whole. But I've said that that's the whole thing. Sex sales. So where I like me, obviously, I don't have a problem with the song, and um, that's not even it's not even the most raunchiest song I've heard. It's actually I think the song is actually really witty. I've told
Actually,
people this.
actually, I like the song. Actually,
Yeah, the
Right.
song is really witty, and I've told people
yeah.
this.
I got a
If
little thought
you
exercise
really
for
want
that
to,
in the thing.
yeah, and I told you if you really want to hear some raunchy, like I said, go to Uncle Captain Dick Coming, or go to like Plies had this one verse where he said, "I want to get nasty, I want to put my mayonnaise all on your salad." Brian McKnight had a song called "Let Me Show You How Your Pussy Works."
Mayonnaise and salad. Okay,
Shit.
Bro,
I know what song you talk about from Plies too.
yeah, sucking on
Shit.
me, sucking on you. That I still cannot go.
That's
I
him
still
and
can,
Tank.
yeah, that's
No,
Speaking,
what I'm saying,
no.
and I
Speaking
speaking,
cannot.
of Plies and raunchy songs, Plies got a whole song called Miss Pretty Pussy.
Yeah,
nah, speaking of Plies, he
oh yeah, I
remixed
remember
that.
that song. I remember that song.
Speaking of Plies, he remixed that. He remixed that song.
Which one?
pretty pussy.
Uh, no, the WAP jump.
Oh, I
Uh,
gotta find that.
Yeah, he got released today, and he killed it, man. Yo,
I'm
so
at,
this is
yeah, because
fun.
I'm actually a fan of Plies. I
killed it.
gotta find that.
Me too. He killed it. He killed it.
I heard it. He did kill it.
I gotta
Well,
find that.
I fuck with Plies, except for that sucking on me, sucking on you song. I cannot listen through that song. That shit is just. I don't know. It's just like you seen that meme where the white guy's just taking off his headphones. That was me.
That's funny as shit.
Okay.
But I want to say this, and we could probably go to another. Like for some reason, a lot of this for some reason came right back to fucking black men. For some reason, even though we didn't start this shit, it was the people on the right that started this shit. It's
Well,
like
it was
how
like you know.
I'm pretty sure you had your couple black men there, but because I know CeeLo Green's stupid ass done said shit, and I'm like, he needs to shut up. He just beat a rape charge, and I keep
Right. I was about to
and
say that.
yeah, I was like, but Green fat ass needs to sit his ass down somewhere. And but I've also seen a lot of dudes like either they like the song or they make memes of the song. It's not like black men are just against black women just doing this. We understand like this shit, I guess, but
I see it from two.
I
I see
don't
it
know.
from two different
The
sides.
thing it's either to me. I think it's either if you like Megan or not. But and I told people like
Or
people like me and Walk. There's the two types of people actually like her rapping, and then
mm,
there's people just want to see her shake her ass.
like for me, it's not about the
I'm
rapping
both.
because
I'm both.
I don't really care about the people. I care about more about the principles, the ideas, and the concepts of what's going on. And I'm all for artistic freedom. I don't want to censor nobody's music, but I can see where some people are coming from when they're talking about what effect does this have, does these type of music videos and like the ratchet culture have on the people of the culture.
I personally just don't want it whole culture or ratchet culture to be mainstream. I think the beauty
But
of the I've always said
it
this, the beauty of the ratchet and the whole culture is that it was taboo. Or like the whole strip
was,
club culture.
it was
It's like
taboo.
it is that the tabooness is the beauty of it. Like I keep telling people, you don't watch porn in front of your grandma, obviously.
Well, that's because
Like
they old, but no, in the
no,
future, who
but you
knows?
know, like I feel like, but I've also said this, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, because this was always my theory. Even with like, people don't want their girlfriends to have OnlyFans. I've always said this. I think men still keep their women on a pedestal because not only it represents, um, because like she represents him. If you're a couple, y'all represent each other. So you always try to put yourself in the highest form of flattery and all that other stuff. So like, and I said this: if men was really, I feel like if we really didn't put women on the pedestal, or we didn't like black women, as most people say, trust me when we say this. Like dudes with girlfriends be probably trying to pimp their girl on OnlyFans. In fact, I think
But
dudes
they
would be like,
do, Raymond. But they do, like, especially a lot of these. Like, I don't think it's because they're trying to pimp them. I think it's because they submissive and they don't want to rock the boat, so they let their girlfriend have OnlyFans.
nah, nah, nah. That's more or less
Man,
she's doing what she wants, and I think it's more. And I'm not saying like controlling, but she's doing what she wants. So it's like, all right, fuck it. I feel like a lot of those dudes is just like, I don't want to say beta, but it's just like
I would kind of say that. Kind of,
you
it's
would
not
say beta
not always the
because
case.
like I'm because obviously we seen that one. I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all seen that one video where dude was all girls like cause OnlyFans and he broke up with her because he had OnlyFans because
Mhm.
he wasn't with that shit. And obviously to me he put him he looked at her in a high regard because like I
Yeah,
said,
well,
if
that
men
was
didn't want
him.
to do that. We would put. I think we would put our girls on OnlyFans. It's like instead of saying, "Baby, what's the point of working a regular 9 to 5?" I know a couple dudes that want to see your pussy. Just put it on OnlyFans, and we could just make that money.
Hmm.
Mm.
Some guys are loud because of that. Though. They're like, well, she bringing home the money, so hey, whatever.
I mean,
shit. It's a lot of couples on on these sites, OnlyFans and Pornhub and things like that.
Mm.
So
that I could that I could see that. That's because at least both of y'all on there. Y'all both doing the thing, and a lot of them people don't even show their faces.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, no.
that's
most of the ones I've seen do. It's a couple of them I've seen that don't, but a lot of the ones that I've seen do.
yeah. So and they know if they know they're paying, so they'll just throw that out there. But
I
like I said,
remember.
I could be wrong about this. I don't mind being wrong, but I think men still puts women on a higher
Oh
pedestal
yeah,
than
probably generally, you're probably right. Generally speaking, because what we see in our little niche of the culture with all these betas, all these beta males, is that's not the general public. Like the little nerd culture and the shit that we be seeing that we be around the most. That's not the general public. So the general public probably won't have that or wouldn't have that shit unless they're
yeah.
pimping or taking advantage of their money because they know they're getting that money from the OnlyFans and from selling those nudes. Dudes that be pimping or just taking chicks' money, taking advantage of chicks' money, they probably allow that shit. But a dude that's really into his girl and like about his shit, he probably not gonna have that for real.
Yeah, because I've always said this: dudes will try you if they figure
Mhm.
out that your girl's on the OnlyFans. Niggas will try you, and then like
Yeah,
they'll
they will.
some of
They
them
try.
even say some disrespectful shit in your face. So it's just like you
Mhm.
got to deal with that all the time. And I know most people is like, oh, if you if they're really entitled to the money, the women don't care about the male's feelings. So it's just like you
Mhm.
just got to sit there, and I know a lot of them they're not going to sit there and eat that shit. Especially if like
Mm.
you saying some disrespectful shit to my woman, I might have to go to jail.
But there's something I wanted to bring to your attention. There's
Mm.
actually some there's actually some white feminists and some black feminists too that are out there, and they saying this type of shit has taken women back to being sexual objects.
What, the song?
The cult, no, not just that song, but the whole the whole genre that type of genre has. No, it's not just about that one song. It's about like the genre. That's what they're saying. They're saying the genre and the current culture
Man.
of the of the super sexual videos is
I
taking
I
back.
I feel like that's a women problem, and women should deal with that.
Yeah,
And
but my thing is they have been dealing with it. But I think the issue is that the way women are kind of portrayed, you can like I can understand why they go so hard when it comes to shit like that. Because a lot of people like to take what they say and twist it, and a lot of people don't like to listen to what they actually saying. Now, that's not to say that a lot of them actually do be on some bullshit. But I do think that women in general, they don't really get their problems listened to. That's why there's always been the Me Too movement. That's and shit like that.
Mhm. And I also like to add, like, you know how people were talking about, sexualization and the comics and the games and the movies and all that shit's banned, right? Then why is it
Right.
okay in music videos?
Oh
And
no,
then
it's just trust me, it's not okay. Like there's a lot of people. A lot of people don't like it, but I feel like a
well,
lot of people come at
a lot of
music.
people on my time, a lot of the girls on my timeline be like, "Yeah, this is cool. You know, wrong with it. No, they just enjoying their bodies. They talk about their sexuality. It's good. It's good." But like, but when you talk about Mortal Kombat or some shit like that, they be like, and they be motherfuckers careful about, oh no, they needed to they need to do something different with that. They needed to get rid of that. But music video is fine. There's nothing. Why are we talking about this? And it's like, it's just fucking weird. And I
I
heard
think
the excuse. Go
I
ahead.
think it has something to do with the male gaze because
Well,
what
we
was
gave
it?
the
What's that anime that everybody's like tripping about? That
Uzagi,
anime chick with that
Uzagi,
anime chick with the white hair. What's the name?
Uzagi, whatever the fuck her name is. Hold on. Actually, say
Uzuku Chan.
Who?
Uzuku-chan.
Yeah, and everybody tripping about that is like her body is unrealistic, and then like a bunch of 19-year-old girls have to show you, yes, I'm really realistic like that. Because I think it's a lot of it has something to do with the male gaze or
Oh, my
like things drawn like the male gaze. Like remember the whole Spider Woman controversy?
yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, because it was just
Huh.
like, oh, can she really do all that and all the other
Yeah.
bullshit?
Fellas, males are gazing at Cardi B and all these other music videos too. And I heard the excuse, well, they're controlling the distribution of their sexuality. I'm like, no, they're not. There's a record label. They answer the record labels and record companies. They're not doing any and everything they want with the record companies. They don't have the final say and control over what's going on in the video
Facts.
and in the songs. So it's still being controlled by a man. They say the same thing. Like I heard somebody went and argued with me. Like I was looking through my phone and this girl and her friends I was hanging around was looking. One of the girls was looking at my phone, and I slid across Hooter. I slid across a girl on Facebook with a Hooter shirt and pants. She said, "I can't believe that misogynistic company exists." And then I looked at her and I said, "Well, what's the difference between this and the strippers that you like? I mean, they both uh, getting paid to show some tail or some skin or whatever." In the strip club that y'all idolize, the strippers that y'all idolize is doing a lot more than just serving people in short.
Right.
And they tried to fake drag me, but I was like, I stood my ground. Was like, look, they both appealing to the male gaze. People go to Hooters to look at girls, to look at the waiters and get food, and people go to strip clubs to look at the women and uh, try to get some trim from the strippers. Pretty much, that's what they be trying to do. They try to go in the back, and they both own, probably more than likely owned by some old white dude somewhere. So there's really not that big of much of a difference for real. It's just that one's a little bit more raunchy than the other. Obviously, the strip club is more raunchy. It's like there's a lot of goalpost movement that don't really make sense. But there's also
Honestly,
Double
go
standards,
ahead.
man. Double standards.
Honestly, I think to work at Hooters, you got to have game because a lot of them talk. If you ever seen a Hooters waitress, they talk. So, and in order to work their tips, they got to like talk a good game to even work their tips. So I think you can't just be a pretty face there. You actually got to like spit game because you're not gonna get tipped if you're not.
But at the same time,
not
I do feel like a pretty face does get you very far, especially if you're a woman. If you're a pretty woman, it's gonna get you very, very, very far.
right.
You're right, but have you ever seen a pretty woman with game? They gonna stop.
Bro, black women.
Shoot, there's been a couple strip clubs I went to where like there's like she was a pretty face and like she was getting money out of dudes and she did it out of me and I laughed at her and she was like, "What's so funny?" I looked at her and said, "You got game." That's it. But go ahead with yourself.
Mm.
but
Like,
but
like for real, I wouldn't have much of a problem. I wouldn't even be. I don't really have a problem with the song, period, or the music videos, period. They are kind of like out there and like mainstream, but I don't really have a problem with it. But I do have a problem with the with like the moral inconsistency on what's okay and what's not okay when they all essentially are the same thing for real.
I get what you're saying. So, but I think I think it's one of those things where it's a person by person basis though,
Yeah,
because
because actually some women don't really have a problem with any of that shit, and some do. And some women, unfortunately, a lot of women follow narratives that the media put out there. So whatever the narrative is, a lot of them are going to echo that shit, regardless if they
Yeah.
listen to them or not.
That's why the niggas ain't shit culture is still a thing.
Right, because I was literally at a convention and it was a chick that had a net see-through shirt on where you could see her areolas through the joint, and she was talking about how Mortal Kombat should change their costumes. I'm like, you wearing
Look at
you was wearing the fucking Mortal Kombat 9 Melina outfit like last convention. And you're probably gonna wear it again in the future because it's a popular one. People love wearing those Mortal Kombat 9 outfits. They don't like them in the game though. I'm like, that's kind of stupid.
again, double
cosplay is
standards.
weird like that. I've always said
Hmm?
cosplay is weird like that. It's just
Hmm.
like you don't want people oogling at your bodies, but at the same time, it's just like you go to these conventions or you got these sexy cosplay in like sexy cosplay pictures that you're selling people and all that other stuff. Is just like, are you with it or are you against it? I've always had a problem with people that do that. So
I
Yeah,
think it's just intent. You know what I'm saying? Like, if a woman is gonna do that shit, like obviously she knows she's gonna get ogled, and there's gonna be people that's gonna be looking at her and shit. But I think what they're trying to get at is a lot of people they don't fucking respect them in the first place. So it's like I can look at a woman, but I can still maintain respect, right? I'm not gonna go on her DMs talking crazy and sending dick pics and shit like that because they gotta deal with that shit on a constant basis. That's why most of those
right.
cosplay people and most of those like stream women and shit like that, it's very difficult to get in contact with them because all of that shit is blocked. They're gonna have all that shit on mute. They're gonna have their
And
DMs blocked because they deal with that shit every fucking day. You feel me? So like, yeah, you can look at it and they are very fully aware that what they're doing it attracts a lot of male attention, but there's so many undesirables that they got to deal with that they just got to protect themselves before they really get a chance to really talk to a nigga type shit.
they do. They do. Their inboxes is full of motherfuckers, full of a bunch of dudes trying to holler for a dollar. Like, they be just
yeah,
trying to holler at them.
yeah, some of them niggas are stupid too.
Hmm.
I've been, yeah. You ever go to one of the female streamers and a lot of them dudes they like disrespectful right in the comments. They don't even do it in DM. Some of them do it right uh in the comments and stuff. And it should be like, you really be saying this to women? But I think they only do it because they know like they're behind computers and all that. Any
Yeah.
last words
Right.
before we move on to our next topic?
Yeah, I'll say something about that, John. Only thing I say I like about the video, I only seen it twice. They actually dancing. You don't see that in a lot of videos. Like they actually getting
Right.
down, moving and dancing. Like the 90s and the 99, 2000 Puff Daddy Jones, they was dancing the same way with the girls in the background. They wasn't just like twerking. They was just like getting down dancing. That's why I kind of really appreciate the video. That's the only thing I gotta say about that.
I agree with you. There's actually a lot of choreography in there,
What about
and
Hmm.
Kardashian? Though? We got any thoughts about the Kardashian? Everybody's controversy around the Kardashian being in
I
there.
don't I don't
Eh,
care about Kylie Jenner.
You don't
I
care
don't
about
even.
that?
I don't care about Kylie Jenner. I
no one
I don't
should.
either.
No one should.
but I don't like it. I saw it in the video. I was like, oh okay. But the fact that people was throwing like they wanted her out the video, I was like, bro, it's not that serious. It's like if you watch it on YouTube, just double tap twice. Like, is she only there for like 10 seconds? It's not like she's
Right.
like half the video or some shit. It's just there for like 10 seconds. But I think that's how much people really hate
The
the
Jenner.
uh the Kardashian
The
clan.
yeah, the Jenner slash Kardashian. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I heard somebody rationalize it though, like, oh, well, the black women had to do all this work and they had to twerk and sexualize themselves, but she just walked through the fucking hallway, don't have to do anything. And it's like
Normani's a
there's a
dad.
white people argument.
Normani's a choreographer though. No,
Who?
like Norman, one of the dark skinned women. I think one of the dark skinned women that was in there. She was just dance. She was like doing some choreography stuff. Like she's the artist, so of course she gonna have a routine. And like I've always said, black people are just extra for no reason. Good thing and
It's
a
about
bad thing, but we
the
be extra for
Kardashians
them.
though.
It's like we know she ain't got no talent, so all she gonna do is walk.
Right.
Right.
You needed to be. I agree though. Like she should have busted wide open too.
Uh, all right. On to our
Hey,
last. Go ahead.
real quick. For those who haven't seen it yet, if y'all are familiar with this chick named Lardy B,
Lardy B.
yeah, she does like Fat Girl remixes of all the Cardi B songs. She has a parody of WAP.
Lardy B. I'm about to check that out after this podcast,
Uh
man.
huh. Instead of wet ass pussy, it's wings and pizza.
Wings and pizza.
He
Jesus.
light skinned with a tummy with no
Fat
ass.
ass bitch.
Yeah, she got more than just to tell me. She a big girl.
Man, she a big girl, huh? She
How
for
long
the
you been
Yeah.
BBW,
following her?
she for the BBW levels.
Yeah, she cute though. She ain't ugly. She big, but she ain't ugly. I'ma say that. But yeah. For if you're unfamiliar with that, check that out. I think I shared it in our group chat. But if you're unfamiliar with that, check that out.
She got more folds and creases than her pussy.
All right, where was we going next?
I was like, the last topic of the day. We have a vice president running for a vice president, and it's Kamala Harris, who I've actually thought they was gonna go with. I don't even know why. Like they was making all this spectacle. I knew it was gonna be Kamala Harris, and that's Joe Biden's running mate. So, fellas, how do you feel about Kamala Harris running for vice president? And
They
also, if anybody did anyone watch the DNC?
no. I mean, I watched some of it. Like I caught bits and pieces because I can only take so much fucking pandering because that's pretty much all they was fucking doing. And the number one issue I have with the Democrats is them motherfuckers are so fucking sneaky. Like that is the fucking party of snakes. You know, at least a Republican, they'll fucking tell you that they racist. But Democrats, you know what I'm saying? Their racism comes in the form of like smiling in your face and
Obama
giving
is
what's supposed and being what's supposed to like be for you and give it to like some other people that don't even really benefit more than you would benefit type shit. So Democrats, they all on that. Rising tides lift all boats. We all in this together. All we gotta do is go out and vote. Trump is the boogeyman. You know what I'm saying? America's the place of immigrants type shit. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. But what are you going to do specifically for black people? And when it comes to black people, then they start the whole fucking they start the whole fucking imagery shit. You know what I'm saying? They start putting the Black Lives Matter on the street. They had Billy Porter for whatever reason singing a damn song, dancing in a fucking green screen. I don't know what the fuck that nigga was doing. Bro, it was just a whole bunch of
The
Oh,
little jug. I called it a jug. It was a jug.
and you know what? A lot of those fucking people like who be like running for Democrat now in their past they was throwing niggas underneath the bus, throwing motherfuckers in jail and shit, giving them harsh crimes for like nonviolent. No, giving them harsh punishment for nonviolent crimes and shit.
And that's the thing that really bothers me the most. This is a party that is literally instrumental in destroying like a lot of the black community because they separated black families. You know what I'm saying? Kamala Harris has a long history of
Real
separating
shit.
families.
Yeah.
She has a long history as a prosecutor of not really giving justice where justice is due. And like people have done extensive research on Kamala Harris, and her past is shady as fuck. And then they try to do that whole, well, she's the first black woman, she's the first black woman type
I'm like,
shit.
that shit. Her
And then
biracial ass.
yeah,
No one gives a fuck.
and then I'm like, first of all, she's biracial, and second of all, her dad's not fully black. Her dad is actually mixed as well because
So she,
they actually pulled they pulled all the receipts on her lineage. Her dad is not full black, so calling her a black woman, I mean, okay, yeah, she is half Jamaican, but because of how the one drop rule happens in America, that shit is so easy for them to say, oh well, she's the first black woman, she's the first Indian woman, she's the first woman of color. They stay ambiguous with it. It's another fucking title every single day. And I'm just like, they really playing a game with black people at this point
no,
because
this
they
is other
use
people, but a lot of us fall for it. And I ain't saying all of us. I'm not even gonna put a percentage on it. But a lot, but there's a good amount of us that fall for that shit, hook, line, and sinker every time.
a lot of people, and yeah, a lot of people do fall for that because black people, like, we waking up now, but for a very long time we were the most politically ignorant group. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying politically ignorant as in we didn't vote for our best interests and shit like that. It just don't take a lot to get our vote. You know what I'm saying? Niggas used to go out and vote because Bill Clinton played the saxophone on TV. They had Cardi B
Like, oh,
fucking
you play
talking
the
to
saxophone? I like jazz too. Shit.
yeah, they had fucking Cardi B talking to Joe Biden about black issues, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, why the fuck would you have a woman
Right.
that is literally getting slandered on the internet for shaking her ass and talking about pussy? You have her on a platform. You like, do you know what that does? Do you know what that makes the black community looks like? That she
Mm-hmm.
is our spokesperson for black issues, and that's we're not trying to disrespect Cardi B, but she is the last person I want to represent me when it comes to
Probably that
political
fucking ice
discussion.
cube or something.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like get
Mm-hmm.
someone who knows what the fuck they're talking about. Get somebody from like the Nation of Islam or some shit. I'd rather them talk about it than some Cardi B or some shit. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
she
Like
Shit,
might have
I don't
some
even trust them
questions that
niggas.
they gave her.
The fuck?
no, no,
Maybe
but
some
no,
questions
but
that
I'm
they gave
talking about the optics. It doesn't even matter whether you trust them or not. They can say shit that's going to benefit the black community. That's why I'm
her.
saying I'd rather someone from the Nation of Islam than fucking Cardi B. It doesn't matter whether you agree with them or not. Shit, I'd rather fucking Umar Johnson speak than Cardi B.
Real
And
like real talk though. Umar Johnson, even though he kind of wild with some of his shit, but he knows the issues.
yes,
He does know the issues and where it matters, and he could address them too. But they would never talk to them though. Like for real,
never.
they picked Cardi B on purpose because they know that she's gonna go with the narrative, and she probably had one of her agents write her a list of questions to ask.
Right. And I just feel like even because like I've been looking at this whole thing, you know what I'm saying? Ever since last year, I've been looking at this whole election shit. The Democrats were literally struggling to find their
Mhm.
fucking nominee because so many people were just babbling. They had like some of them, they had like, the most candidates running for the nomination and shit. So, the debates were going crazy while Trump and the Republicans were just keying their ass off because all of them were just fucking incompetent type shit. It's like,
Mhm.
this shit is a joke to me at this point. I feel like even if regardless of whether we vote or not, shit ain't gonna happen for the black community. We're still gonna lose. It's still a
Right.
X.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean,
Ready
I've
to
already
fight.
made up my mind. Just looking at all of this, there's no good options here. I'm not going to waste my energy.
That's how I'm feeling, but I'm like, like, do we accept another Trump period, or do we all pitch in to get Biden in and Kamala Khan? I mean, Kamala Harris
Kamala Khan.
to get Kamala.
uh,
What,
Tony, what
what do
you
you
think?
think?
Man, I was just thinking about it. Like even a Kamala Harris, I'm gonna still vote. Um, I'm gonna vote for Kamala Harris. At least see what they doing, cause like homeboy said, man, do we really want to go through another Trump? I mean, see how that shit is, man. But I will vote. I'd rather vote. I would still vote rather not vote at all. Cause I mean, I told Raven last time, when you vote, you're not just voting for the vice president and the vice president and everything else. You voting for stuff for your city, the judges, everything is on that ballot too when you vote. So I'm still going to vote.
I think I've heard that the local vote matters the most. Though.
Yeah, the local
Yeah.
Like
vote,
the
the
city, yeah.
senators, because Trump. I mean, you got to think about it like this. Trump, he don't. He's just the head of it, man. Nothing really don't
Right.
go unless Congress go. And
He's like a
Congress is more
figurehead, yeah.
powerful.
Hmm.
Right.
Congress and the senators are more powerful because they the one that do the stuff for the state. The president could say something, but I mean, same thing with like Obamacare. I mean, he could sign for everybody to do it, but it's up to the person in charge of the state to enforce it. If they don't want to enforce, they don't have to enforce it.
No, they
So
don't.
it goes bottom level. You vote for your representative in your city or your councilman, the people that deal with the schools, the people that deal with like basic stuff. Like I mean,
Right.
especially like DC, like these fucking camera lights and shit. They be fucking catching people all the fucking time for like $60, $70 when you going over 10 miles per hour. That shit you can vote on when you vote. You know what I'm saying? It's not just
Right.
the president. You gotta go to your local jump. Who's gonna be in charge of the board's education? Who's gonna be in charge of, if they want to build construction, HOV lane, all that shit comes in play when you vote. So I mean, president really don't run shit. And I mean, he could say all that stuff he want, but the fucking Senate and the Congress, they run that shit. Yeah, you vote them out, and then
Well,
see, vote them out. They shit is every 2 years. Vote them out, and then see, and things will change. President really, they really don't do nothing, man. He just a, I mean, Trump just the
representative.
president with it. Yeah, he just a representative. I mean, you
So,
really can't say or anything he do. I mean, and people follow behind that shit because he just talks in Twitter all day. But all the people, let me tell you, the one thing I learned in the hood, man, you always got you. It's not the ones that talk a lot of shit, and not the ones you talk a lot of shit. You got to worry about. You got to worry about the ones that ain't talking at all.
Why? Because you don't know
And
what the fuck they up to.
and that's how the senators are, man. Them motherfuckers don't be talking. They don't say nothing. When them shootings happen at school, they're like, okay, we'll talk about it. Let's go on break. That's it. Those are the ones you got to worry about because those are the ones that's getting the money and making the stupid ass rules that's holding us back. So I mean, for everybody, still vote. I
But
mean, a vote still count. But your
at
vote,
least with the loud
vote
ones
for
like the
everything.
president and Trump, at least with them, you get a heads up of what's going on.
Yeah,
With them quiet motherfuckers, you don't get a heads up. It just happens when it happens, and then you gotta
yeah,
deal with it.
because a lot of congressmen they don't talk about what they're going to do. I mean, because they behind the lines making money moves and shit, man.
Mhm.
They the
I
ones
mean,
They the ones that they're like the neighborhood drug dealers that don't be riding around with fancy cars. Those are motherfuckers that wear the same jacket all day, every day, and they be chilling. You know them. And they be friendly. They be like, "What? He's a dope boy? I didn't know that. That's the one you got to worry about." That's how it is in Congress, man. All the motherfuckers, them senators that be saying all that shit, don't be doing that. They making Trump the head of everything. Why they're like, you know what? Let's let him keep distracted. All the people. Let's make this money move. Let's fuck up some shit. That's how that shit is. So still vote. People got can still vote.
All right, let me. So I heard what you said, but I just want to say this real quick. So the number one issue with black people, because black people, like regardless of whether regardless of like whatever's happening, we do show up and vote. But I think the issue with these last two elections is that it really shows that black people do not have the economic foundation to influence
Mhm.
politics on our side. And it really shows because when the Democrats and the Republicans, when the Democrats and the Republicans were facing off in the 2016 election, none of them had anything for black people. And when Trump won, that nigga just babbled on about how black Americans have the lowest unemployment rate, and and I'm like, that has nothing to do with you. That's just black people being, the people that we always were. We always kept a job. We've been doing that shit ever since before slavery anyway. So that's not anything new. And then second of all, with this election right now, it just feels like you literally had Kamala Harris talking about, I don't think I'm just gonna sit around doing something exclusively for black people. No. And then she says that shit, and then people are actually talking about, well, we need to vote her in because we just need to get rid of Trump. And I'm just like, either one of them you are going to lose. This pandemic, what
Yeah.
it really did, it showed people's true colors, because the fact that we as black people do not have a strong enough economic base to influence politics, to provide specific tangibles for us, when the Hispanic got a fucking executive order and the LGBT just got passed the Equality Act, but yet we
Yeah.
still over here marching in the street, twerking on the street for some damn fucking for a problem that we've been dealing with for fucking generations and generations. And niggas is still fucking twiddling their thumbs and talking about, well, all we need to do is go vote. Our vote hasn't done shit to benefit us for the past 100 years. So
Yeah,
what the
but
fuck
you
are
gotta
we
think
gonna
about it
vote
like
for
this.
now?
You gotta think about it like this. Like it's still a lot of black people. I mean, even when Obama came in, a lot of black people still didn't vote. It still didn't vote at all. I mean, you gotta think about it like this. Like I think of it like this. It's a learning curve. You start somewhere. You just don't start when you want to start. You gotta learn the system. Even if you just vote to see how that shit is. Do your research, do your investigation, find out what you want to do, and vote it. I mean, it happens every 4 years. If you do it a 4 year, you know what comes. I didn't start voting. I think the first time I voted was with Obama. Before that, I give two shits about it because I feel like it wasn't involved. And that was just stupid of me for thinking like that shit because I felt like, you know what, he ain't gonna do nothing, I ain't gonna do nothing. But it empowers. If my son and my daughter see me vote, and we all vote together, you make a change. And the thing about it also, the second thing is only like 40% of black people vote anyway. 40%. 40% of black people don't vote. And mostly all of them is under 30. And that same thing with white kids too. It's a big percentage. Stacey Adams, when she was trying to vote in Georgia, she got a jumping off of fucking 60% of people to vote in Georgia, but still lost. But had 60% more voted, and had probably like 30 or 40% that registered voted. The biggest outcome anything. They had Big Boy out there. They had Ludacris out there doing concerts and shit. I mean, I said, think about it. White people do that shit all the time. Why we can't do that as a race? It's just my opinion though, man. You sit back and say like, yo, voting didn't change that. Everybody's not voting. You vote and get involved, spread a message, do the things, uh, do the things that white people are doing. They out there voting. They out there with signs. They out there pushing their agenda. We should do the same.
No, but that's why I brought it back to having an economic base. Because if you do not have a powerful enough economic foundation, these politicians ain't going to do shit for you. The only reason why we really got the Civil Rights Act passed back then with Martin Luther King and shit was because Martin Luther King actually advocated for economics.
Yeah.
Black people who were working from all over, they didn't even like, yeah, they voted, but at the same time, they also had the money to back certain shit up. That's why it was possible for the Civil Rights Act to even happen. And even then, the Civil Rights Act isn't even exclusive to black people. White women benefit from it. Immigrants benefit from it. You know what I'm saying? And that's not to say that, oh, we don't want to include these other groups, but it just goes to show that there is a benign neglect policy in place when it comes to specific shit for black people. That's why I get so tired of that fucking notion. Well, if you don't vote, well, then you're disrespecting your ancestors. Your ancestors did not die for you to just vote.
I'm
Your
not.
ancestors died. No, I'm not saying
It's
you,
more the
but there's
concept,
this narrative that goes
but
but there's this narrative that goes around that's like people say say, well, if you don't vote, you're a disgrace to your ancestors and shit. But what I'm trying to tell these people is your ancestors died, so you got something for your vote. Don't just vote because, oh, we need to get someone in office, or don't just vote because, oh, this person is going to do something for these people and it's going to trickle down to us. That's why we've been last place for so fucking long, because we
See,
don't
but
vote for
see,
our
that's
best interest.
that's why I said earlier. I was like, the president don't do shit. You start when you vote, you literally vote for stuff in your city that you live in a ballot. If you ever voted, when you vote, it's you not when you vote, it's like it's like 20 things that you vote on your ballot. So it's not just when you go there, you vote for president and 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 president, vice president, and so on. It's like 20 things you check after the president, the vice president, everything under there is just for your city, and that's what need to start. You vote your councilmen, you vote your councilman, you vote your judge, you vote your police chief, you vote all of them people in, and do your research as a people work on in the city. Vote for your senator, your congressman. Those the ones that fight for you in Congress. The president, he's just the head. That's why you vote for stuff in your city. You vote for, like I said, cameras that's on your corners, or boards of education, or you could vote if you want to legalize marijuana. You could vote if you want alarm. They'll put stuff in there they don't even know. They'll put like, yo, you could vote for if you want uh metal detectors in school. All that stuff is still in the ballot. Even if you don't want to vote for president, vote for everything else in your city. That somebody's voting for you, somebody's doing it for you.
I mean, me personally, I voted in almost every election in my city and in my county. I voted for my superintendent, and he's done great things for our county. So I understand when you're saying when it comes to that, people like educated political people always know you always vote locally. That should always be a given. But I'm just saying, in this political climate that we have right now, people just like black people, especially now, like the way that shit has been moving, it don't like it just feel like we're gonna take a L regardless. So this notion that people should just vote isn't really genuine, because either way we gonna lose. At this point, do you still want to keep the red L, or we gonna vote in the blue L? Motherfuckers know that Trump wasn't it. But honestly, the whole Trump shit, we didn't deal with anything new. We've always dealt with the same white
Yeah,
supremacy.
my
We've
life
always
ain't
dealt with
changed
the
though.
same police brutality.
But
Like
but
Trump
nah,
didn't bring anything new to the
but
fucking
yeah, he did
to the
because
phone. The only thing is that
he
the
really
only
did
difference.
because
Let me
he
finish.
he
Let me
he
finish real
he
quick.
gave he gave the platform for white people to be more braver than they used to be.
Yeah, he
Where
did
it was like, where he was
Really
like, well,
did.
Trump president, fuck y'all niggers, white
Yeah,
supremacy or
but
Nazi and
yeah,
all
but
that
what I'm
shit.
saying,
And
yeah, but what I'm saying is we've always dealt with
yeah,
that.
but he gave him more power for that, man. Usually it'd be some
gave him more of a
undercover.
spoke, he gave him
Usually
more
it'd
of
be
a
some.
spoken voice.
Yeah. He gave him a voice. He was like, well, Trump president. That'd be the excuse. Trump's my president. You could leave here, get out of my country. You not from around here. Go back to the border. I'm calling ISIS. Nobody wasn't doing that shit when Obama was. Nobody wasn't calling ISIS like that when Obama or even Bush was in office like
I
that. I mean,
mean,
they literally had a teacher.
if you
Literally had a
remember
teacher like 2 months ago.
when Obama, I see what you're saying, but when Obama got into office, he was faced with a lot of slander too. There was a lot of racists just being blatantly racist towards Obama.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's always been a thing. Y'all don't remember when they was calling Michelle Obama a man and she's a gorilla and she looked like a monkey and all that shit.
Yeah,
They've been dealing with that shit they whole fucking presidency. So that's nothing new.
Yeah, but you got to think about it as far as the population. It's more white people than black people here, and people using it. People, you really don't find somebody racist unless they do something or you hear something. Now people are just jumping out saying racist shit because they can use Trump as a tool. Like Trump's my president. He said you ain't if you not born here, you need to get out the country, and they could use it as a tool. They use it as a handicap tool, which they've been doing. They wasn't doing that at first. I get you talking about like racism, but Now they using Trump as a tool. You know, they could go around and do the Karens. You know what I'm saying? Like, where you from? You're not from around here. I'm calling the police type shit. Usually be undercover racist, but now they braveheart because they feel that Trump is giving them that power. If that makes
I
sense.
don't think that shit's gonna go away because Biden and Kamala Harris is gonna sit in the White House now. That shit's not just gonna go away though.
No, it's not. It ain't. It ain't
Nah,
going
nah,
away.
nah, it's not. But a lot of the people that's jumping out there right now,
Right.
a lot of people jumping out right there, they probably not going to jump out there no more because Trump not president. And you got to think about like the good thing about Trump being president. A lot of white people are screaming Black Lives Matter. More, a lot of them are more alert to see how racism really is because how bad it is right now.
They pushing their progressivism further because they pushing back against Trump and his peoples his little squad of
Yeah,
voters.
yeah.
Yeah,
So like
I mean,
my phone about to get ready dead. Like the Black Lives Matter thing is Thursday and Friday next week, right? And I'm still in the National Guard, so we gotta bring out the riot gear and all that little stuff for this week. And like I always see, man, even when I was telling Rain, when I was down there, it was white people screaming Black Lives Matter and then got surprised when police hit them and they was black for that second. They was surprised, like, why'd he hit me? I'm just practicing my First Amendment right. I'm like, bitch, we've been doing that all our life. You got a taste of it. Welcome. You're welcome.
hmm
Thank you. You're welcome. And but now they see how it is. It's not a front. It's not fake. You don't have to be a a gangster or a bad person or a troublemaker. You could be a real right. I mean, a real ordinary original person, and then police will fuck you the fuck up. They seeing that on TV. They seeing it on social media, and now a lot of people, a lot of young people are being woke. If you so called say woke, or actually seeing with the eyes of the stuff that's going on. Doing when I was there to protest, it was more white people than black people out there screaming Black Lives Matter and saying "fuck the police." You know what I'm saying? And that's good because it's like, yo, they fighting for us. They helping us, and it boosting it up. It when I say something and a white person say something, sometimes a white person scream louder than a black person when it comes to a situation. And that's how I feel. So if they all power up like that, then they can vote and see how really things is without being polluted by other racist white people. The world could be a better place. We can't do nothing. We can't do anything at all. You got to do something. I mean, that's just my opinion. You got to do something. Vote for people in your local city. See how true that is. Make them stand up to their value. Put them motherfuckers on spot. I mean, on spot. If they fuck up, yo, you out in 2 years, B. You done. Next. And let them know how serious you is. People don't pay attention. A lot of people don't care, you know? It's a lot of young people that just don't give a fuck. And I was one of them guys until I was like 30. So that's just my little point right there.
and I agree with a lot of what you're saying. But like my main thing is two things. My main thing is having an economic base to influence politicians to have them have specific benefits and tangibles for black people. And then my other thing is, yeah, it's cool that white people are saying Black Lives Matter and shit, but to me, that's not fucking enough. If I feel like if you really about that life, you donate to a black business. If you really about that life, you would rally your community to really uplift the black people that you and not just uplift them to say that, oh, we're better, these people are better than us or whatever, but uplift them to be on the same platform as the white people and as other people, because as you know, this country has a very long history of deliberately stunting black growth. You know what I'm saying? Redlining. When the GI Bill was first formed, black people couldn't get none of that. Like, there's a lot of systemic shit in place that literally holds back black people. And it's and like I said again, it's cool that white people are saying it, and we got all these people around the world that are saying Black Lives Matter and shit. Boom, cool, but that's not enough. enough. It needs to be action behind it. It needs to be money behind it too. Put your money where your mouth
Yeah,
is. If
that's
Black
what.
lives really matter, go bless a Black business then. Go donate your time. Go, donate your energy on some Black businesses. Go watch some Black TV shows. Support Black people. You know what I'm saying? Don't just go out on the street and say Black Lives Matter and then put your sign down when shit is gone. That's why we be getting on them people
There
of
be
color shit
policies.
because
There be policies written too.
yeah. And that's why we be getting on a lot of those people of color because a lot of them they be faking like, oh, we're all in this together, and then like whenever white people want to give out some shit, they shit on us to get it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They throw us under the bus to get it, and that's always been a huge issue when it comes to us and other groups and other immigrant groups and shit like that. So if you gonna be about that life, then be about that life. You feel
Right.
me? I'm sure we all have friends and we all have acquaintances that aren't Black, and because they know us, they're gonna have a certain feeling about our propensity to get killed by the cops and shit like that, or the shit that we go through. So they're gonna show their support. That's cool, but it needs to be more than just going out with a sign and saying Black Lives Matter. It needs to be more than that to me.
I mean,
Hmm.
it's to me, it's a start to for
But
that shit to travel to different countries where it's really black people dead and people are protesting and people to stand out
like
or
Japan,
or or,
Japan was one.
or yeah, or other white people pointing out Karens or
Mhm.
other white people saying, "Yo, what are you doing?" Or other white people are filming. It's being acknowledged what's going on. It's not erased to fix everything all in one spot, but it's a start. For me, when I was down there to see all them people down there throwing bottles with the police, doing that, and people getting locked up and coming back again. Is something like that it show other people what's going on. It gives people a different mindset. You kind of say like somebody's fighting for you. It's more than them just going down there with picket signs. The motherfuckers was down there from like early in the morning to late at night giving out drinks, giving out foods, donate, looking out for black people. It's let me tell you, if 10 people out there are just holding up picket signs, if one change they whole mind about everything, that's a good start. And I
I
see
will,
that.
I will, I will agree and say that like when I saw this current recent movement, I was like, oh, this is it. This is the opportunity right here. And it's like that's why I was like on a previous podcast, I was like, we need to stay together, not be separated based off of I can't find a good date or no shit like that. Like people be talking, having this little gender war shit.
Hmm.
Yeah, we don't need to be separated off of that gender war shit. We need to stick together at this point in time because this is the opportunity right here.
It is. And
It
then
may
thing
not it
about
may
it,
not come again anytime soon if we pass this up and start fighting amongst each other because you know Tyrone didn't fucking do something on a date or some shit like that.
yeah. And
That
then you
that's
have to go
that's just
and
petty right now.
and they see how bad the police are, and they'll think
Right.
twice because now police are doing it to their kids at the protest, getting
Right.
hit with stuff, and like, oh my gosh, not my Timothy, or not my Bob, or not my Elizabeth, or whatever young names they probably have, but they're actually seeing that you
Mhm.
could do everything right and then get fucked up by the police by doing nothing wrong and that change your whole mindset. That make you think. You know what I'm saying? It just make you think. Like I don't know. I know one of y'all's in the military, but when you go through boot camp and you come out, your whole mind, your whole life is completely different. You see things different. You see how the world is. You see where you kind of appreciate. You kind of see the brotherhood. That's how it is with Black Lives Matter. You could be standing with somebody for 5 or 6 hours screaming or marching, and you can meet people or interact with people or start to educate yourself. It's a start from that, and from like last year, it's a big difference. It's just my opinion. I give you sound like the economic of the money, but it got to start somewhere. I'm not saying that it's going to be a complete win, but I'd rather for it to start somewhere. Yeah, if police pull a black person over and a white person pull out their phone and scream Black Lives Matter, you like, holy shit. I'm thinking that she called the police, but now she filming it for my protection. That's the type of shit that's improvement.
I think a lot was said here. I
Hmm.
ain't, I ain't even had to say nothing and nothing on this. I was going to ask, did any one of y'all see Obama's speech?
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
I
yeah, I
saw.
think
So I
I saw.
caught like the last 10 minutes.
I would say this, Obama in that speech, in my opinion, he kept it real at least because he was saying things that even I've heard a father say, like he said, I know there are some of y'all that are looking at this election and wondering what's the point. And I was, and when I heard that, and he was like, "Wow, that's exactly how like I remember." It was like, "What's the point that we're just picking a lesser of two evils?" And I
Hmm.
didn't watch the whole DNC, uh, but I will say this: if I saw the highlights of it, it was basically them saying "fuck Trump" and Trump is a bad man and all that other stuff.
Yeah, it
But
was
yeah,
a little.
but other than that, but Obama's speech, I thought the Obama speech was the highlight of it all. I didn't watch Joe Biden's speech. I'm gonna end up watching it, but I'm gonna watch it probably sooner or later after this. But other than that, yeah, the old DNC was just fuck Trump, and I agree with everybody else says. Last
Oh
time I told people all the time I voted for Hulk Hogan, so because I didn't like I didn't like the candidates, and if I'm going to give them a chance.
Fuck
As
that.
far as I know, look, yeah, I'm pretty sure everybody made up mind. Joe Biden has like three chances to not say nothing stupid until I'm voting for Cat Williams this year. I'm just letting y'all know that I'm voting for Cat Williams. So other than that, it's like I want to give Joe Biden my vote, but every time I see him in the news, he's saying some dumb shit. So,
I
any
really
last
like Joe Biden.
any last words before we move on to our final thoughts?
Not really.
Yeah, y'all sound all talked out. So, with that being said, we're gonna go to our final thoughts, and we're gonna start with Dion.
I got nothing.
Shining Wolf.
Mm, I'm stuck on this last topic really. I ain't really got nothing to say though. I'm just kind of like processing everything.
Tony.
Xbox better than PlayStation. You're welcome.
Xbox better than
We can't be
PlayStation.
friends. We can't be friends no more.
Okay, well,
Oh,
now that's not the politics thing real quick. Well, I mean, I only see like here's how I see like the PlayStation Xbox shit. PlayStation got good exclusives, and they got Japanese exclusive or like Japanese esque exclusives. When I say Japanese esque, I mean like the action RPG type of games and shit. They got a lot of they got a lot of like exclusive, like The Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, Final Fantasy VII remake. They got that stuff. The only thing like Xbox needs to get together because the only thing they really got going on right now is backwards is upres HD 4K backwards compatible, you know, PS3 and Xbox 360 generation games.
You know, you just said like eight things, and you said only.
All right. Here's the thing about backwards compatibility, though. What are you gonna play? Because Xbox One really didn't have that many games, and I know Xbox 360 was like their most successful one. But what are you really gonna play other than
Xbox
like Call of
360
Duty?
actually Xbox 360, like I went through their log on my old Xbox, the backwards compatible, my old Xbox One, not the Xbox One S, but Xbox One. They
Yeah.
actually have a lot of nice games from the Xbox 360 generation that I would actually like to replay, like because you can't really play them on anything else because they're now on Steam, and that's like a big backwards compatible machine. You can't play them on Steam, and you can't play them on PlayStation 4. So play them on Xbox. Like if you want to play the Ninja Gaiden trilogy, Ninja Gaiden trilogy is all right there, every last one of them.
Yes, it is.
If you want to play like the hardcore uprising game, it's on Xbox One. The Contra game that came out that looked like an anime style back on the Xbox 360, you can play that on there now. You can play Dead to Rights, and the original Dead to Rights, and then the one that came out on the Xbox 360. There's a lot of old games that you can play, and those games age pretty well. A lot of them.
Mm. Hallelujah.
You can play Banjo Kazooie. You can play
Speak on it.
one
Testify.
and three,
Mm.
even though the third one's kind of trash. But you know, but I mean, there's a lot of old games, and I'm thinking about getting one just for that. Like, I'm gonna get the PlayStation 5 as well, but I might get the Xbox Series X just so I can have that
They
backlog
they
because
say they say how much the price is going to be for the PlayStation, new PlayStation.
500.
500
Wow.
almost six, almost. That's what I heard anyway. I don't know how true it is though.
Yeah, somebody right now gonna get paid.
Right?
People want that stimulus check just so they could get their so they
Shit.
could pre-order their PS5 and shit or Xbox
Shit.
Series X. Father,
Um, yeah, I've completely lost my faith in this political system, but we gonna see what happens. And yeah, fuck Democrats and fuck Republicans.
Yeah, I agree with that. There needs to be another party.
Right. But there do be independent parties that do be trying to jump in the election and shit, but they don't have the backing like the Democrats and the Republicans do, so they don't get shine like that. We don't really get to see them like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
because
think they
And
be.
a
I
lot of
think
people
they
are
be.
really
I
far left,
think creepily. I
right?
think creepily trying to shut them down, man. For real, for independent parties, they trying to shut them down. Democrats and Republicans.
Yeah. Yeah, because most people I talk to, like a lot of people are either real far left or they're real far right. There are people that's in between, but you know, it's like these days you gotta be all or nothing with people. Like you gotta be all for a particular political idea, or you gotta be all against it. And if you're in between, or if you like kind of like combine different ideas, like you become like a bad guy or some shit.
See, here's the thing. The thing about politics is your ability to sell a lie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Mhm.
prime example, these cats is always, they swear up and down, yeah, they for the people, this, this, that, and the third, XYZ. Whole time they pushing their own personal agenda. These motherfuckers don't give a fuck about the people. They don't give a fuck about this country. They want that position of power. They don't want the actual job. They just want that seat. They just want that position of power.
If you
Right.
want to go any, if you want to go even deeper, they not even running shit for real.
Right? They
Yeah.
just they just want their name on something. They just want to be seen.
Yeah, man. The little 3% of rich people run everything, man.
So
Mm.
see,
I do
if
agree with that.
the right person needs to come along that knows how to sell the lie of what you know basically sell the lie of what I guess the rich folks who run everything and this that and the third might want, but manipulate that shit to where like the common everyday people like you, me, and everyone else benefits from the shit.
Mhm.
That's what needs to happen.
was that your final thought, Father? That was it.
Yeah, that was it.
Great
Okay.
conversation.
um, I've been watching a lot of videos on like I guess hypersexuality. There was this one video of how this one woman she was talking about Dennis Rodman, Jaden Smith, or the androgynous man always like challenges the thing about hypermasculinity and some bullshit and something like that. I've always had this I've always had this thought that even like for one, a lot of those men she mentioned like a Jaden Smith, Dennis Rodman, Prince, and all that other stuff. A lot of them still exudes masculine energy. Even Jaden Smith with his weird ass. I feel like a lot of people like you only seen like Dennis Rodman. You may seen Dennis Rodman in a wedding dress, but when you look at him, you still see a man in there. And same thing with Prince. Like even though Prince, yes, he was in concerts with his ass cheeks out, the nigga was still fucking some of the baddest bitches. So obviously, there's still some masculine energy there. So
And he
one thing,
gives either.
yeah. For one thing, I'm gonna always say though that even though like people they like that fact that men pushes the boundaries, and I'm using quotation marks because I really don't think they just do what they want and don't care. But and I just think a lot of women are with that, but I don't see a lot of women dating them or at least in long lasting relationships with them. So I've always said this, like the regular masculine people that people always have a problem with. I've always felt like even though you have a problem with them, you still like date these niggas or
Oh yeah,
like
they love it. They
procreate.
still love bad boys.
Yeah, and like even though like a lot of these people. The thing about Jaden Smith, you throw him out there, is like he's pushing the boundaries, but at the same time, it's just like you don't even know if he's interested in women or not because he's calling Tyler Creator his boyfriend and shit. And like Young Thug is just like I wouldn't put him as someone that's pushing the boundaries and shit. So
I
I
try my
don't.
best to pretend that nigga don't exist.
It's like I just think there was just a bunch of weirdos that don't care, and then like people just now it's okay to dress like that if that's your style, but let's be real. A lot of those dudes that I guess they call them femboys. I wouldn't call them a femboy because I think that's an insulting name or some shit like that. But you don't really see them in like one successful relationships or they're the type of dudes that women like just fall in love over or want to have sex with. They still like you get your Tyrones and your Pookies and your Ray Rays and shit. So I don't know. That's just a random thought I had. So with that being said, I'd like to thank the panel for jumping on the podcast. I would like to thank y'all for that wonderful talk with Kamala Harris vice president thing and shit, and basically the state of this country. I'd like to thank y'all for tuning in, listening to hear us talk our shit again. This is Lemme signing off.
All right.